let me ask you flat out whether you stand by the claim that you, as a young man, as a 14-year-old boy, attempted to stab another boy and attacked your mother with a hammer.
Those claims are absolutely true. You know, I am 100% sure that they are true. And this is simply an attempt to smear and to deflect the argument to something else.
To many Ben Carson supporters, questions about whether or not past stories are true are nothing more than a smear campaign by the so-called liberal media. We just blow off the media, said a retired piano teacher in Ames, Iowa, who supports Mr. Carson. We stop getting the newspaper. We watch Fox News and listen to the radio. If you were predicting how the flurry surrounding his memoir would play out, so far it's done essentially nothing to damage his popularity among Republicans. A new Washington Post ABC News poll out today, conducted amid much of the controversy about some of his past recollections, has Carson leading the pack with a 71% favorable rating. Another survey out today has Carson polling the highest in the theoretical matchup against Hillary Clinton. Due to his popularity and his mild-mannered, if slightly odd disposition, candidates other than Donald Trump have been reticent to attack Dr. Carson. Now, one of the big questions going into tonight's debate is whether one of the other candidates, in a 2-hour discussion about views and economic policy, will actually try to go after Carson on that area. Joining me now, Leah Rigueur. She's an assistant professor of public policy at Harvard Kennedy School, author of The Loneliness of the Black Republican, which is a wonderfully evocative title. Can you, given you wrote a book about the sort of experience of being a black Republican and black conservative sort of in more recent terms, as you watch the Carson campaign unfold, particularly over the last week, can you account for its strangeness? Like, honestly, it is unfolded in such a strange fashion, this back and forth about changing the biography, and I can't quite figure out what is going on.
Well, you know, Chris, that's a great point. It is a little bit strange, and part of that is because it's sitting on an American redemption story. It's an American dream story.
Right.
It's about really pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, about overcoming the odds, and about succeeding against everything being against you, right? So that's why there's a lot of popularity, or that's why there's a lot of support around Carson, and why people are really rallying about him, around him, despite all of these kind of odd and little weird particulars here and there.
Yeah, and that explains why you had this weird sort of bizarro world situation for about 48 hours in which the knock on the candidate was that he was not a violent young man, that he had not hit his mother with a hammer and had not stabbed someone with a knife, and the campaign was hitting back by being like, no, he absolutely hit his mother with a hammer and absolutely stabbed someone because it's important for that biography to be there to get that story.
Right. In fact, going out and saying, you know, we have people to counteract the liberal media's claims that, you know, that he didn't stab somebody here. We have verification. Because this is, you know, this is not a normal story. This is not a normal part of presidential politics. This is part of his uplift story. And this is part of what makes him so appealing to so many different audiences, among them white Republicans.
Yeah, there's this sense, you know, Rupert Murdoch got in trouble for tweeting about basically Ben Carson being authentically black in a way that Barack Obama is not. He sort of later retracted and apologized for that. But there's something happening with the conception of him and his blackness that seems to be at the heart of his appeal.
Right, and I think a lot of this goes into his likability, right? So white Republican voters, likely voters, love him. They think he's honest, they think he has integrity, they think he represents their values. But he also, I think, emerges as a kind of blackness that they can understand and that they can like, right? That he is a good black person who has overcome all of the odds without, you know, relying on certain things. And I think it's no accident that Carson is emerging in popularity amongst white Republican voters at the same time that campus unrest, that Black Lives Matters, and things like that are actually taking off in steam and success.
You know, it's been a hallmark of Barack Obama's political career, this desire on the part of his political opponents to find essentially a kind of black adversary that could defeat him. Alan Keyes was recruited to run against him in Illinois. There was that moment when Herb and Cain, people rallied around him in 2012. Obviously, Barack Obama's not on the ballot this time, but this sense by Republicans, white Republicans, they have been smeared as racists, and that this was proof positive of how libelous that claim is.
Well, right. So he does offer them a little bit of protection, right? Because he validates kind of concerns and he says, you know, look, I have a black friend. I can't be racist. But I also want to push back a little bit, or at least flip it a little bit, and think a little bit about how Carson actually has support amongst some black circles, right? So that goes in a different direction than what we would traditionally understand. I mean, there was a new poll that just came out that said actually that if Carson were to match up with Hillary Clinton tomorrow, 20% of African Americans would support him. That kind of support is unheard of amongst Republican candidates. That is amazing.
That is a massive margin. In fact, that is one of the most fascinating sort of counterfactual questions. Were he the nominee, what his share of African-American votes would be? You know, Barack Obama won upwards of, I think, 98%, somewhere in that ballpark. I mean, you could see something more like margins of 80%. We may never know, but it'll be fascinating to track that as we go on. Leah, Rigueur, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, Chris.